Shalom. I like to give all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim preaching his word of truth and sincerity around the four corners. Like Elder Malcolm would be saying, risking their lives and freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Peace and salutations to the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that live amongst the heathen that look like the heathen. This is not a black thing, this is an Israelite thing. And shalom to the Akim and the few Aqua, the true believers of the hopeful elect. Just coming back in the spirit and theme of prophecy, and just wanted to speak a little bit on what's his name? Theo Huxtable, aka Malcolm Jamal Warner. If you haven't heard already, he recently perished. He passed away in a so-called not so-called, but on a family trip. Let me just put it that way. From what I understand, he was swimming, and he in Costa Rica, and the sea current brought him out further than what he would have liked, and he drowned. And then it just came out of the blue. You never heard any problems from him, but you gotta understand, the Most High, we're in the time of judgment. And the Most High is not a respecter of persons. He doesn't care what your social status is on the earth. He only cares about Salakia. He only cares about if you are reverencing him and his son or not. If you're reverencing and exalting the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, that's what he cares about. So, I got an article. I'm gonna read a little bit of it. Hit maybe one or two precepts, because there's really not much needs to be said. The article says it itself, and Lord's willing, you're edified. Alright, that's from People Magazine. It says Malcolm Jamal Warner, who played son Theo on The Cosby Show, dies at 54 after drowning on family trip. You see? And there's not even that much that they have on him. It says the actor was in Costa Rica on a family vacation and drowned while swimming, a source confirms to People. It says a rep for Warner did not immediately respond to People's request for comment. And then it goes on to name his accolades. There he is, Salakia. Damn, pop-up, so. There he is with the cast of the Cosby Show. Him being Bill Cosby's only son. And basically, and I watched the Cosby Show. Growing up in the 90s, being born in the 80s and growing up in the 90s, I got to see the Cosby Show. It was a good show, you know. Speaking from my own standpoint, it was definitely a good show. And Theo Huxtable, or Malcolm Jamal Warner, playing Theo Huxtable, he was a good character. He was a good actor. You know, he wasn't he wasn't like a YN. You know, he lived and did his thing. You know, living amongst the sisters, and he held his own. You know. Salaki. Let me get a couple of precepts. Like I said, this didn't need to be drawn out. First, let me get this. This is the book of Job, chapter 4, verse 7. It says, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off?" Yeah, you see, the innocent don't perish, and the righteous aren't cut off. You know. So basically, this guy he had to have been doing something wrong. And to be perfectly honest, from the videos I watched from the elders, from different elders like Elder Manatazat Ba, GMS South Carolina '08. I watched no, I believe that was the only video I watched on this on Theo Huxtable. And from what I understand, you know, he was big on the black man, you know, calling himself black. And you know that to call yourself a color is not a nationality. You know, we're not black. We're different shades of brown. So, and plus when you're in that entertainment, that level of entertainment status, you know, you can't tell me that he didn't know who the Hebrew Israelites were. You know. So in 2025, everybody, you can say damn near everybody knows who the Israelites are, you know. And if you don't, then the Most High has truly blinded you. Or maybe he's just waiting for you to come across the specific brother or apostle or teacher or specific teacher to teach you that you're a Hebrew Israelite. You just better hope it's GMS, because GMS has the 100% truth, bar none. You know, so even though it's an unfortunate situation, you got to remember that he wasn't innocent. Matter of fact, but it was all of a sudden. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 12, and it reads, "For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them." Yeah, you see? So it just happened out of the blue. He got taken out of here. And this proves what? This proves that the Most High is to be feared, man. Because you don't know when it's your time to go. That's why your best bet is to do whatever you can. If you have knowledge, if you have knowledge of this wisdom and understanding of this truth, then you should do your best to utilize your attributes and reverence and exalt the Heavenly Father and His Son as much as you can, as often as you can, because you never know when it's your time to go. You know, it tells you. As a matter of fact, the 10th verse in And I believe it's Ecclesiastes. It says, whatever your hand finds to do, do with all thy might. Because you never know because you're not going to be able to do anything when you go down to the grave. But this is Psalms chapter 68, verse 20, and it reads, He that is our power is the power of salvation, and unto power, the Lord, Yahweh, belong the issues from death. You see? So it's the Heavenly Father. All the issues of death belong to the Heavenly Father. Anytime you hear anybody, whether it be man, woman, child, you know, you don't reverence and make the Lord your top priority, you could be next to perish, you know. As a matter of fact, let me see something real quick. I gotta get it. Yeah, right there. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 5, verse 7, and it reads, Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. You see? And this is what happened to Theo, to Malcolm Jamal Warner. You know, it says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. He perished in his security. You know? The wrath of the Lord came forth, and he perished in his security. Because, you know, like I said, he was in Costa Rica on a vacation. So most Jakes can't even afford to leave their neighborhood. But, you know, he's a seasoned actor, well-known actor, you know, enjoying the fruits of his labor for making money. Off of acting, and I believe he had a Grammy nomination or something like that for something else, for something in music. But either way, that don't mean nothing to the Heavenly Father, you know. Let me get this. This is the book of 2 Chronicles chapter 15 verse. I'll start at 12. It says, And they entered into a covenant to seek the Lord Yahweh power of their fathers with all their heart and with all their soul. And that's what you should be doing. That whosoever would not seek Yahweh power of Israel should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. And that's exactly what happened with Malcolm Jamal Warner. You know, he wasn't seeking the Heavenly Father. He's, you know, like Elder Yakia from GMS Chicago be saying he was living his best life. He was more in tune and more inclined to follow after the cares of this life, you know. Because I believe I was listening to him on a podcast, and I believe it was the Breakfast Club this morning, and he was talking because they were talking about, you know, his passing, his death, and they played a snippet of him on a podcast, and he was talking about his daughter and how he was rocking a flower in his hair because his daughter put it in his hair, so he's rocking it. You know, he was a cool brother, but the Heavenly Father wants you to put him at the forefront. You know, like it tells you in Matthew the 6th chapter, if that eye be single, the body be full of light. You know, but yeah, it's a shame, but it was you know, it's the will of the Lord. Like I said, the issues of death belong unto Him. But Lord's willing, you was edified. Till next time, we're gonna say shalom to the elect.